My name is Peter Dalton, and we're standing here at the middle field on the 3rd Winchester, Virginia battlefield, talking to you about Ira Gardner, who was part of a charge that was made towards the Confederate line, which is in the woods here to my right. He was a Maine man born in Patten, Maine. He entered the Army at the age of 18, and when he arrived here, he was 21 years old and was a captain of one of the companies in the 14th Maine. When he arrived to the wood line out here, he received a wound and went down on the field. When he came to, Ira got up, marched back in this direction, got to the 1st Maine battery here, and Captain Bradbury gave him a drink of whiskey and encouraged him to go on to the hospital set up here to our left. And Ira would walk 2 miles to the nearest hospital and way station that he could find, and that would be the Child's Wood House. While he was at the Child's Wood House, the doctor determined that his arm would have to be amputated. And so it was. Even though he complained that he didn't want to lose it, the doctor amputated his arm. When Ira Gardner woke up the next morning, Mrs. Wood had been tending to him all night. And he was very grateful, and he was forced to be moved to another location, and before he left her, he gave her a $5 gold piece. Ira would go off, return to Patten, recover from his injuries, and then Ira would find the opportunity to return to this battlefield 37 years later to the day. He went back to the Child's Wood House, and he found Mrs. Wood was still alive. He talked with her. They talked about what had happened to him. She brought him to the place where his arm had been amputated inside the house, and he found on the floor his own bloodstains, which had been there. She told him she had tried to remove them many times in the 37 years since he was there last. He also was told that her husband had taken his arm and buried it in the yard out front. When the National Cemetery was established in Winchester, in 1865, Mr. Wood had dug up the arm and brought it there and buried it there in the National Cemetery. This is the spot where Charles Wood would have brought Ira Gardner's amputated limb to be buried, and we know that someplace here it lies. The rest of his body, though, is buried in Patten, Maine.